everyone. Welcome back to the Presentation Zen YouTube channel. So today we are going to talk about 5 basic design concepts that you can use, whether you're a designer or a non-designer, doesn't matter, but you can use these ideas to make better visuals for presentations or whatever you're working on. So I always say that the lessons are all around us. So you can learn about great design just by opening your eyes and sort of observing what works and what doesn't. So whether you're going down a quiet back alley or a noisier back alley, wherever you're going, it could be an urban environment. There's just so much signage, so much graphic design, so much communication, visual communication everywhere. And there are lessons, good and bad, but there are lessons everywhere from which we can learn. So I live in Nara, which is very close to Osaka City. Osaka City is a massive city with lots and lots of lessons everywhere. So speaking of Osaka, why do people come to Osaka? We have millions of foreign visitors every year now. And one of the reasons they come is to see the Osaka Castle. Right, so if you're a foreign tourist, wherever your hotel is, you would take a train, most likely, one of these trains, to Morinomiya Station. And if you're from here, if you're used to living here and reading the signage, it's not such a big deal. But if you're here for the first time, maybe the only time to see the castle, it can be a little bit confusing, especially when it's really crowded and you might be a little jet lagged. So as you can see from this picture that I snapped just the other day, there's a lot of information here. We want to go to Osaka Castle. There is the information, and it should be very clear, but it's really simple, but it can be easy for us also to be confused by this. So if you're a foreign visitor, even though the information is right there, it's easy to miss that. So for example, this couple comes along, we find it, there it is, Osaka Castle Park, 3B. All right, and then we see the arrow and we go off in this direction, which is the wrong direction. So let's learn about CARP. What does CARP mean? So you can put this in a different order, but I prefer this way, and I'll show you in a bit why that is. But CARP just stands for contrast, alignment, repetition, and proximity. And you may have heard about this before. So it's very fundamental. So I came across this almost 30 years ago when I bought this book. This is the original book that I had almost 30 years ago, The Non-Designer's Design Book by Robin Williams. And in there, she talks about that and gives lots of examples from newsletters and other documents. She put it in a different order, but the order doesn't matter. So you can see here that, I bought the book in June of 98, and I put those ideas, these very fundamental CARP ideas, into the Presentation Zen book, the chapter 6, I think, on design. And I gave a lot of different examples in the domain of, slideware and using PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever. Software doesn't matter, but how can we use these concepts to make good designs? And the reason I put it in the order of CARP is just a way to sort of remember, because CARP has or koi as it's called in Japanese, have a strong, just have a purpose, or a strong meaning, I should say, in Japanese culture. So for example, here the CARP, or koi no bori, for Children's Day, are flying high in the spring. There's just a symbol. They are a symbol of resilience, perseverance, and strength, and just generally positive connotation with CARP. And so there's a strong association with that. Not to mention the koi ponds. So this is me as a child. We had a kind of a Japanese-inspired garden, as I've mentioned before. So I grew up with CARP as well. So strong association in Japanese culture. So just remember CARP. Contrast, alignment, repetition, and proximity. Now let's go back to this design here, which is a good design. So let's isolate it a little bit, and then we'll just go through these 4 together. So let's start with the first one, contrast. So contrast just means we want to make different elements clearly different. So if it's different, make it clear that it's different. And you could do that by using differences in size or color or the weight of an object or its shape. And we do this to sort of guide the eye through a design. So if we look at this example here, we can see that the background is a flat black. So the background itself doesn't have salience. We want the objects, or the elements rather, on top to have the salience, that is to pop out. So you can see here by color and by shape, things which are different are very different. So the exit numbers are circles with a number in the middle, and that's consistent throughout. And they do pop out through the color and also the shape. And the exits are clearly different from other elements, such as the restrooms and the escalators and elevators. And then these other train lines, the circles, are a little bit bigger. And the arrows, everything pops out, right? Basically through color and through shape, right? So these little squares, rounded squares, are very different than the exits, which are round. And then these train lines are also round, but a little bit different because they have a border and they're larger. So we would say for contrast, this is really good. Things pop out like that, really easy to see. Okay, so next one is alignment. So alignment, just generally speaking, you want try to have every element should have some sort of visual connection to something else, to other elements in the design, right? So nothing is just placed arbitrarily. So we can see by looking at this, everything sort of lines up. When you can make an alignment, line it up. So all these circles line up, and they line up here with the parentheses, and then also line up here with these rounded squares, and then of course the lines, the horizontal lines. Nothing is arbitrary. Everything is sort of lined up. So think about that. Um, Whether it's flush left or flush right. So in this case, it's flush kind of to the right. Over here, it's more to the left, but that's arrow going left and arrow going right. So we would say that, yeah, there's good use of alignment. All right, the next one is repetition, just to repeat things. So repeating different visual elements, for example, typefaces or colors and shapes and so on, creates a unity and connects elements in the design together. So we can see, well, what repeats here? Obviously, the exit circles repeat, other circles here, meaning the different train lines, these sort of vertical lines here. That's something that's repeated just to kind of give these three sections together. The arrow is repeated. Squares are repeated throughout. Rounded squares, not different kinds of squares. Basically, these squares are the same size, right? So we can see that there's good repetition throughout. There aren't that many colors. There aren't that many elements. They are repeated. Next one is proximity. So proximity just means that elements which are placed close together are perceived as related somehow, but elements that are placed further apart are perceived as separate or unrelated. So if we look at the sign here, we can see that it almost seems like in two sections, which in a sense it is, because we want, there are sections that are referring to going right, and there are sections, a smaller section down below, which refers to, go left, exits, and so on. So we kind of have these two parts right here. And then we can see things which are clearly related. For example, all these other extra things in white are kind of related. If you go to the right, you'll see the elevator and the escalator and the restrooms and so on. And then we see Osaka Castle here using parentheses as well to just make sure these are related. This actually is also related because if you took these, this is better, but if you took these, you're going to go right and you're going to get to Osaka Castle Park. And then you see here we have the other train lines. So there's consistent difference in proximity. You can see here, these are kind of related in a sense. They're the other train lines. This is a little bit different, so there's a little bit more space, as there is a little bit more space here because this is a different section. So we would say in terms of proximity, yeah, it's really done very nicely. Okay, so this is well done, but still people could be confused. It's easy to miss things. So Osaka Castle Park is to the right, exit 3B. So what could we do to make it just fail safe? So a foreign visitor or someone who's never been to the station before is not going to miss trying to get to the exit for Osaka Castle. CARP does work for analyzing a sign and making better graphics, but there's another principle which is called the picture superiority effect. So let's imagine we come out here, and if there was no sign at all, that could be confusing. So this one, which we looked at, that would be useful for a lot of people. It does say where Osaka Castle Park is. We go to the right, but that's easy to miss. So what did they do? Instead, they have many signs like this. And this one's very easy. So because we have a photograph, in fact, the photograph or the picture is repeated as a inline drawing down below is much bigger. So we see the castle and we see a photograph of the castle and a big arrow and the names of the exits. Any of those exits will do. So this is really a good example of using pictures or images to help people and instantly tell them which way they should go. And this is relatively new. So we didn't have this before. I come to this station a lot. But when international tourism started rising 10, 12 years ago or so, then they put this in, and it greatly helped in helping foreign visitors just get to where they want to go. And there are many advantages to that. So obviously, it's just instant cognition, instant recognition, right? And the general principle is the brain processes images much faster. I mean, we know this intuitively. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. Universal recognition as well. So if you don't speak Japanese or you don't speak English, it's still very useful because we only have sometimes have Chinese and Korean, but English and Japanese. So it just eliminates that. We don't need whatever language, it doesn't matter. We see Osaka Castle, boom, there we go. And then that helps the foreign visitor or whoever is going to Osaka Castle can help them relax because it just decreases the stress. Yes, we're sure it's this way, right? You can't miss it. And this also helps the train or the railway personnel. It frees them up to deal with their more important work rather than saying Osaka Castle is this way. So either of these signs work, but we can see that they complement each other. So sometimes the one on the left is enough for a lot of people, but this sign with Osaka Castle, a picture of it, is repeated, I don't know, 4 or 5 times throughout the platform. So it's really easy, really helps the foreign visitors. All right, so that's 5 basic design concepts. We looked at CARP, contrast, alignment, repetition, and proximity. Think about ways you can use that in your slides or whatever else you're designing. And then the picture superiority effect. Whenever possible, use images, photographs, drawings, whatever you do that will help people understand more easily what you're talking about.